Happy Mother's Day and welcome back to Champion News Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. Jack Roeser and myself, Carol Parisi, are speaking with two American exceptional moms on this Mother's Day. And we were talking about homeschooling and schooling and the dumbing down of our precious children. Ladies, what do you have to say about that? Jackie, I know we were talking over the break a little bit about how they're dumbing down our kids and what's up with that.
I don't really know much about homeschooling because when I was raising my boys, you didn't homeschool. They went to school. It was not as popular then as it is today.
There wasn't as much need for it then.
Agreed, Jack.
My father, I graduated from the same grammar school in Chicago that my father did, by coincidence, because we moved around a lot. I went to 3 different grammar schools. But my father and mother only went to the 8th grade. My father made several attempts at business before he finally did it. My father was a great man. He was smart, and he could do square roots in his head, but he only had an 8th grade education. It didn't hold him back. He learned more in 8th grade, my mother too, than the kids today learn about the practical things, the decent things, the history of this country, and what it is all about. They learned in 8th grades in school, and they weren't. But you take the schools today. I'm not going to. I'll tell you. I'm sitting in District 300 here, and I know that it's a pretty big district, and it's not poverty-stricken or anything like that. But when they finish with their 12 years in this system, only 4% of them are fit to go to a community college and enroll there without remedial training.
Mm-hmm.
I think that stinks that a system should be that expensive. They're spending $16,000 a year per student average in Illinois. $16,000. That's like $300,000 a classroom, and they don't turn out people that are capable of going to a decent 2-year local college. Only 4% are qualified. What have they been doing for 12 years?
Well, it's funny you say that. I got an email from my girlfriend the other day speaking to our exceptional schools. She listened to last week's show about the pension reform. And she said, well, the reason why our schools cost so much money is because we turn out world-class learners. Now,
That's a joke.
This is what she said. Now, Laura, what were you saying? Because you have a mom that's actually, you are a mom that has children that are actually in this school system, such as myself. And you were speaking to the dumbing down of your children. What can we hear more about on that?
I look at education a little bit differently. I believe that as parents, we have a role in educating our children.
Absolutely.
And I think the biggest and most important thing that we can teach our children is critical thinking skills. And I do not agree with a lot of the curriculum that the public schools have implemented and also the things they've taken out of the curriculum. But
specifically, what don't you agree with, and specifically what is taken out?
For example, American history. They do not teach American history any longer in most of the schools. And I think being an American, that's almost like a given that it should be taught.
Absolutely.
So that's one thing. And they have gone to different types of math programs and English programs. Grammar is not is forced anymore. Spelling, it's sort of kind of like, well, if you're in the ballpark, that's okay. And I don't think those are the kinds of things that we should teach our children to be mediocre. I think we should always teach them to strive for better. But when I was talking about the critical thinking skills is that I believe that in public schools, they need our children. They need our children that can critically think because they're not going to learn it there. So I look at it as if I teach my son and my daughter the value systems of our home and how to critical think, that when they go to a public school, they can make a difference, just like we're all trying to make. And I think it's a disadvantage to keep some of our children out of those schools because I think our schools so desperately need them.
Need those the light of our kids that actually know the truth.
This is fantastic. What you're really saying is that children coming from a family augmented education are really the real teachers in the school system.
Oh, absolutely. They're not going to get it. Our school system
because the school system is not going to teach them through rote about arithmetic They aren't going to discipline them. Stay in that chair until you learn this. They aren't going to discipline them like that. Uh, Arithmetic is a great thing because you got to learn it. You have to have discipline, and it's got right and wrong answers. There's not much of that in the schools. It doesn't extend anything beyond arithmetic.
No, our school system has become a money-making machine, in my opinion.
Hmm.
It employs a lot of administrators at extravagant costs, while our children are not getting smarter, and our children are actually falling behind in the national scheme of things. There's countries that were way behind us as far as education that have now surpassed us, and so those are some of the nuances that I sort of think of when I think of education. Is that I like my children to be in those schools because I hope
And,
that they could be a
getting
light.
back to curriculum, they had in Texas last year where they rewrote the books. A lot of that American history is put back into the school books this year.
I can't even
revised the textbooks.
get over the concept of rewriting American history.
Mm-hmm.
And as moms, I think we are very concerned about how and what our children are being taught. So I guess this is going to be a very exciting and interesting conversation when we come back.